This is the greatest affront to civil liberties ever attempted.
Joan, thank you so much for your time today. I'm such a big fan of yours. Congratulations on Zero Day. I have to say, this is a truly eerie and deeply relevant show, and I had chills watching this and a lot of edge of my seat moments. But I'm wondering, was there a particular moment for you during filming that heightened your sense of just how vital the show's message is for viewers?
Well, I think I don't want to do any spoilers.
We can get into spoilers. This is going to go out after. It's totally okay.
But there were a few scenes where it felt very, very real, and it's compared to what was really going on in real life. I could, see it pretty clearly.
Yeah, there's this one moment that I think it's in the finale, and when you're getting out of the compound with your husband George, and it feels like something you would see in the news. It feels like something that's happened, in headlines. And I was like wondering what exactly went through your mind when you guys were filming that, because I feel like it was a very intricate scene. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and you have to keep your emotions in check while also still doing the performance. So what was that like?
That was the scene I was thinking about. That was very intense. Yeah. It was very intense. And it's the first day when you see like these throngs of angry people, coming towards you. That is a very, very terrifying thing, because you're just completely out of control. I mean, you're hoping that the car holds up. So, yeah.
Even thinking about it now gives me chills, because it was such a strange scene where it felt like something's happening in real life, that we have these types of crazy moments. I won't say what events have happened, but we know what's been going on in the United States. And so something that I also really admired, though, about your character, she brings back Valerie into the fold of everything, especially, whatever happened between her and George. What do you think this really reveals about her leadership style and her assessment of trust in certain times? Because she does have this thing where she kind of personally sacrifices what's happened for the greater good.
Yeah, I think there is scarring in her heart. I think there's been many years that have passed between the time when she last saw Valerie and to this moment where she encourages her, really wants her to come and start working for George again. So I think time helps, and so it's not completely fresh. There's been a lot of life that's been lived in between. And I also think that maybe she's had a little bit of perspective about the timing, of what had happened, of what was going on in her own family at the time, which was not easy. And so that doesn't excuse things, but it can kind of help explain things, maybe to a degree, which is also helpful with distance. Years away, can kind of go, well, maybe I can, not that it's still okay, but I think there's been enough time passage that has made, I think if it had been sooner, there probably wouldn't have been the ability for her to reach that point. But I think there's been enough space and time and the urgency of what's happening in Zero Day for George to be properly surrounded by people who really can be trusted and really will genuinely have his back. Sheila wants that peace of mind. I think it could almost be more worrisome to not bring her on, because if she can't trust anybody else who's around him, she's going to be worrying about that all the time.
Yeah. Speaking of, being around, your character with George, the chemistry you have with Robert De Niro is amazing. I love the dynamic you two have. Did you find that his presence challenged you in ways when it came to your character's response? Like, it's a very push and pull sort of relationship, and it's just very lovely to see on screen, especially how they treat each other.
Yeah. Well, that's what Bob brings as an actor, for one thing. The writing supports that. And our wonderful director, Leslie Glatter, who just emphasized that this is a partnership. These are two people who are, she is his most trusted advisor. When he wants, somebody to bounce things off of, to ask opinion, he wants to go to her more than anybody else. And so that speaks a lot to her, I think, level of I guess, intelligence and compassion and their shared vision for democracy and the country. I think they're very aligned patriotically with how they see the country, envision democracy in America. And so I think that makes for it's made for an incredibly tight relationship, which she's not afraid to speak her piece, and they're partners in many, many ways.
Yeah, I hope we do get to see a season 2, because the way it ends, I feel like there's still story to tell, and I would love to see the two of you on screen again together.
Thank
I think
you.
it would be amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, before we wrap, I would love to say I'm just been such a fan of yours for years. I've loved you as Pamela Landy from the Bourne movies, and I've always wondered if, whatever happened with her last chapter, like she was kind of left in a shaky place after exposing corruption. Do you think she would ever return to Bourne 6? And where do you see her fitting into the modern intelligence landscape? Because it has evolved since the last film.
I don't know. I need to call Paul Greengrass, the director, and see what he thinks.
Because I think it would be great. I think it would be really good to have somebody like Pamela Landy. She was my spirit animal. I loved her so much.
Thank you. I love hearing that. Thank you.
Yeah. Of course, she was a badass. And who doesn't need, you were the only one that actually survived all the men kind of made the decisions, and they kind of paid for it at the end. So, you had your head on your shoulders.
That's what I think. Some others thought that she was not quite like that. But I was like, she's just doing her job, and she's really good at it and serious about it.
She really is. She's so
great. Thanks.
Yeah, Joan, thank you so much for your time today. Again, congrats on 0 Day. It's phenomenal, and I can't wait for everybody to watch it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.